Am I going mad? Yes, you are mad bonkers, but I will tell you a secret. All the best people are. Lewis Carroll, Alice in Wonderland. Mental disorders and diseases are like a plague in our times. We're all affected by high stress and addictions, but what else lies at the core of mental illnesses? In the Russian language, a mentally ill person is literally called sick in the soul. Is there truth to this? This topic is complex. Not all mental unwellness can be explained in simple terms. Furthermore, not all conditions labeled as mental disorders are necessarily disorders. There are many reasons why the current healthcare system might label certain behaviors as diseases, often leading to the prescription of treatments for financial gain. Many modern disorders are not mental diseases per se, but are socially constructed and accepted for the wrong reasons. For example, parents who struggle with parenting might use ADHD as an excuse. The education system, instead of fostering natural abilities, focuses on standardized tests that promote mediocrity and uniformity. Anyone who does not fit in is labeled as having a learning disability. Expressions that deviate from the norm are often labeled as emotional or mental imbalances, with medication prescribed as a solution. So, mental illness can be a convenient label. At the core of mental illness is an internal split in the person's psyche, often due to a traumatic event that creates an internal gap. Healing trauma cannot be achieved through the brain alone. Current approaches try to fix mental abnormalities by manipulating brain processes and chemistry, but this addresses only a fraction of what causes personality disorders. Trauma's only purpose is to be healed and to evolve in the process. Denial often seems like a less painful option, leading to the creation of a false self. This short-term defense mechanism becomes detrimental in the long term. The person's emotional response around the trauma is often shut down as an attempt to numb it. However, the energy of the trauma is still stored in the body, mind, and overall energy field, and it will find a way out, often in unpredictable and destructive ways. For instance, someone who was abused as a child may create a false sense of normalcy around their family. But the unbalanced rage and grief can unexpectedly manifest and harm others. As you can see, mental illness is not just an illness of the mind, but a damage to the human energy field. If someone is open to universal healing through spiritual practices, their energy can renew and heal. However, if they create a barrier to this healing, they are left to try to heal themselves, which is not always possible. Let's start with the so-called dark triad: narcissism, sociopathy or psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. Experiences, environment, and personal conclusions based on them shape a person's state of mind. This state of mind, in turn, influences their outlook, and the choices they make from this outlook can lead a person to become more self-serving at the expense of others, or conversely, to serve the community at the expense of themselves. When a person develops more self-serving tendencies than community service, we tend to view them as selfish and possibly evil. However, evil per se only manifests when self-service involves harming or using others against their will. Every human is inherently self-serving, which is natural at this point in our evolution. Those who prioritize serving others over themselves are not necessarily better or healthier. They have often been conditioned into this behavioral pattern, which is not inherent. In the future, humans will naturally serve each other, attuned to one another without sacrificing personal benefits for others. Currently, however, this is often a facade. Mental illness, as you perceive it, is a collective disease, a product of the collective outlook. Why do some individuals easily harm others, while others cannot? This difference arises from the choices and conclusions drawn from experiences. All deviations from a harmonious, peaceful, and loving nature can be seen as mental illness, or as indigenous tribes called it, illness of the spirit. When Europeans arrived in the Americas and began harming natives, the tribal communities, unaccustomed to such behavior, could only explain it as a wounded spirit. Europeans brought this mentality as a norm. Nowadays, mass killing is outside the norm, but some individuals are still prone to predatory and abusive behavior to satisfy their needs, a basis for dark triad behavior. This tendency has always existed in humans, as explained in The Origin of Evil. The current era calls for more education and information about conditions like narcissism and psychopathy. The modern perception and heightened interest, partly due to social media, represent progress. Awareness fosters more awareness, which will lead to actions. A wave of change is coming, and some commonly known mental illnesses will be healed at the community level. The current focus on narcissism is positive, albeit slightly exaggerated and narrow-minded. It is convenient to view narcissism and psychopathy as individual problems, dissecting and analyzing their psyche. However, the true origin of these hurtful behaviors lies in social standards. Society harbors these distortions, which surface through specific individuals. Healing needs to occur collectively. Modern values and aspirations are the true root causes of narcissism, sociopathy, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. Intellectual development, if not supported by heart chakra energy, will continue to cause human suffering. Many individuals who are self-focused on their own gains may appear numb and unaffected by their actions, but we know this isn't true. The false sense of separateness leads humans to hurt each other, and such abuse always comes back to the originator, whether through karma, generational curses, or the internal sense of emptiness and misery. Every narcissist, regardless of their apparent success and invincibility, is actually wearing a mask. Be real, be honest, and remember the law of cause and effect is always at work. What goes around comes around. The mental illness manifested through self-centeredness is a choice, and while it may be deemed untreatable from the outside, it is indeed treatable if the individual decides to literally change their mind. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel if our material resonates with you.